In the past decade, the Twin Cities have experienced a restaurant revolution. Chef-driven, locally sourced, and nationally award-winning restaurants are now commonplace. Much has changed since the days when boiled seafood and charbroiled steak were the standard. Yet residents and visitors to the area hold cherished memories of long-gone Minneapolis restaurants like the Nankin and Charlie's Café Exceptional, along with icons like Murray's and Jack's that still remain. Historical menus from the Hennepin County Library Special Collections let us look back at the local restaurant scene from the 19th century to the more recent past. For much of the 1880s through the early 1900s, the economy flourished. Restaurants were lavish, and Midwestern food, though plain, was sumptuous. Fine restaurants such as those in hotels catered to a wealthy crowd and tended towards gluttony. The quick succession of World War I, Prohibition, the Great Depression, and World War II forced many restaurants to adjust to food shortages and a bleak economy. Yet through hard times, people continued to dine out. By the middle of the 20th century, restaurants had changed. Fast food brought new conveniences such as drive-ins and drive-thrus, and fine dining brought new experiences to dining out. Many restaurants served more than just good or comforting food, such as stimulating interiors, live entertainment, and spaces themed for amusement, which created unique and memorable dining experiences throughout Hennepin County for decades. Whether hotel or department store restaurants, steakhouses or exotic ethnic fare, or suburban fine dining, we hope you're hungry because your table is ready. Some of the earliest restaurants in Minneapolis were located in hotels. When the West Hotel opened at Hennepin Avenue and 5th Street North in 1884, its menu included Blue Point oysters, mock turtle soup, supreme of spring chicken with asparagus allemande, and a dessert course of coffee and Charlotte russe. Down the street at Hennepin and Washington Avenues, the original Nicollet House Hotel, which opened in 1858, also offered mock turtle soup, along with leg of mutton with caper sauce, broiled whitefish, and rice cakes with port wine sauce. While the menus changed through the years, the elegance of fine dining in local hotels remained. As hotel kitchens grew with state-of-the-art equipment, hotel chefs developed gourmet recipes to serve the masses. Menu selections varied little from one hotel restaurant to the next, serving mostly beef, chicken, fish, and seafood, with an assortment of sides, or the occasional pot pie, pasta, or platter. Hotel restaurants were as much about the space as they were the food. Large public rooms allowed for civic meetings and offered a stage for visiting politicians and lecturers, while elegant banquet halls catered to weddings and other celebrations. In the 1950s, hotels began creating unique restaurant experiences, like the Viking Room at the Radisson Hotel, the Norse Room at the Leamington Hotel, and the Waikiki Room at the Nicollet Hotel. When department stores began opening tea rooms and restaurants in the early 20th century, shopping became an experience, and department stores a destination for a day out. The conveniently located cafes provided sustenance for shoppers, but were a marketing scheme for the stores as well. Stores accurately predicted that the more time you spend in the space, the more likely you are to buy something, increasing the chance for impulse buys. In downtown Minneapolis, shoppers could get a bite to eat at all the big department stores: Dayton's, Donaldson's, Powers, and Young Quinlan. Department store restaurants were upscale, not cheap, but not luxury dining either. Most were catered to lunching women, and light fare like salads and sandwiches was common. Lunchtime fashion shows, live entertainment, and extravagant displays of merchandise were also frequently presented. Dayton's Oak Grill, which until the late 1960s required women be accompanied by a man, was a clubby retreat of paneled oak, red leather, velvet drapes, and a hulking fireplace. It contrasted greatly with the sleek Sky Room, where ladies lunched against dramatic views of the city skyline. Starting in the 1960s, decreasing population in the city and competition from large suburban shopping centers led to a gradual decline of downtown department stores. When Southdale, the nation's first enclosed shopping mall, opened in Edina in 1956, It greeted hungry shoppers with modern versions of Dayton's and Donaldson's storied downtown restaurants. Shoppers flocked to the mall for a new shopping experience, complete with lunch in the sunny mall courtyard. Food courts are a staple of malls today. International foods came to the area along with the first settlers to the new territory of Minnesota in the mid-19th century. Germans and Swedes dominated local immigrant communities, but Italians, Greeks, Chinese, and others arrived in smaller numbers and soon became small business and restaurant owners as well. By the 1920s, Chinese restaurants were a mainstay of the Minneapolis restaurant scene. The menus and the restaurants themselves played heavily to stereotypes about the Chinese and Asians in general. To accommodate American tastes, Chinese recipes were Americanized, introducing chow mein and chop suey to the crowds. For those even less adventurous, American fare was always an option. Opened in 1919 in downtown Minneapolis, the Nankin was the most recognized Chinese restaurant in the metro area. After outgrowing its cozy dining rooms in the 1950s, it moved across the street to a new space with a grand double staircase. The restaurant moved again to Hennepin Avenue in the 1980s when the block of the previous building was demolished to make way for the new city center. The Nankin was especially known for their subgum mixed meat and vegetable chow mein. After 80 years, the Nankin closed in 1999. Other popular early Chinese restaurants in downtown Minneapolis included Yen Fuang Lo, also known as John's Place, founded in 1908, and Kin Chu Café, which opened in 1923. Chinese food came to the suburbs a few decades later as dining options outside the city expanded, including the White House in Golden Valley, Kowloon in St. Louis Park, and David Fong's in Bloomington. Born in the age of the automobile, suburban restaurants envisioned a 20th century eater on the go. Located in strip malls and along main thoroughfares, drive-ins and fast food franchises grew by leaps and bounds in the 1950s and 1960s. The Twin Cities' first McDonald's at 6320 West Lake Street in St. Louis Park opened in the late 1950s. In June 1959, that McDonald's sold over 100,000 hamburgers, the highest sales that month of any Golden Arches location nationwide. Alongside its booming fast food options, suburban Hennepin County developed a restaurant scene to rival Minneapolis. Many fine dining establishments in the suburbs catered to adventure-seeking motorists along the region's growing highway system. The Kashmiri Room within the Ambassador Motor Hotel created an exotic resort experience at the juncture of Highways 112, now Interstate 394, in St. Louis Park. At 494 and 100 in Bloomington, Camelot transported guests back in time with a menu of French specialties served in a castle-like building. Those looking for a less exotic dining experience found that many familiar Minneapolis restaurants had followed them to the suburbs in new forms. The Barenberg brothers, whose father had founded Lincoln Bakery in North Minneapolis in the 1930s, moved the business to St. Louis Park in 1957 to serve the growing Jewish community. Soon, the Lincoln Delicatessen, or Lincoln Del as it was known, was a local institution. Menus tell a story about the restaurant scene locally, providing a look at how people socialized, what they ate, and how food trends changed. They may be of interest to historians, restaurateurs, graphic designers, or those nostalgic for days gone by. Digitized menus can be viewed in the library's digital collections at digitalcollections.hclib.org, or you can request to see originals and non-digitized menus in Special Collections at Minneapolis Central Library. Special Collections is located on the 4th floor of Minneapolis Central Library. We hold extensive collections on Minneapolis and Hennepin County history, along with several other in-depth collections containing unique and historic materials on a variety of topics. The department collects, preserves, and provides access to all types of resources, including books, photographs, school yearbooks, archival and manuscript collections, periodicals, maps, postcards, menus, thousands of files of newspaper clippings, and more. There are currently over 1,000 menus in the collection, which continues to grow through both purchases and donations. If you have a menu you'd like to donate to the collection, contact us at specialcall@hclib.org or call 612-543-8200.